Hello, everybody. This is the Strat-O-Matic Baseball 1986 Major League Baseball replay. We are entering in Week 11 of the season, which takes us from June 16th through June 22nd. So just a little recap as we're heading into this Week 11. The American League Division leaders are the Baltimore Orioles at 34-26. They're 2.5 games up in first. Out in the Central, Detroit Tigers are 30-31. They are a half game up in first. And out west, we got the Texas Rangers at 41-21, and their lead is by half a game. Over in the National League side, we got in the East, the New York Mets at 39-21. They are 3 games up in first place. In the Central, you got the Cincinnati Reds at 30-30. They are a half game up in first place. And out west, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers at 39-24, and they are 4 games up in the lead. So this is the leaders as we enter this week. Let's see who could hold on to first place, and let's see if anyone could take the top spot. So just some trades and transactions from this week. Some notes here. We got Dennis Martinez. He was traded from the Baltimore Orioles to the Montreal Expos. John Butcher and Neil Heaton were switched for each other. So Butcher went from the Twins to the Indians, and Heaton went from the Indians to the Twins. Some other trades in there. Cecil Fielder got traded from the Blue Jays to the Montreal Expos. And again, this is some fantasy trades. Everything from the top all the way down to Herm Winningham I did to kind of try to make some teams competitive. What actually happened was down the bottom. So Dennis Martinez, George Wright, John Butcher, and Neil Heaton, those transactions actually happen on those dates. So let's kick it off and get into Week 11. So Monday, June 16th, we got the Cincinnati Reds at the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta's DH Claudel Washington's 2-run triple in the 7th puts Atlanta ahead for good. The Braves win 3-2. Detroit Tigers at the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore's rally falls short late in the loss. Tigers win 3-2. Texas at California. A wild 9th inning helps Texas over California. Texas wins 5-3. Philadelphia at Chicago. Philadelphia scores 2 runs in the 9th to secure the win, and the Phillies win 6-4 over the Cubs. Toronto at Milwaukee. Toronto can't rally at the end in loss, and they lose it to Milwaukee 3-2. The New York Mets at Montreal. The Expos shellac the Mets in the shutout 10-0. Boston at New York Yankees. Yankees beat up on the Boston bullpen in the drubbing of 12-4. Kansas City at Oakland. Kansas City explodes in the 7th with 8 runs to down the A's 14-3. St. Louis at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's Lee Mazzilli, left fielder, 3-run homer helps the Pirates in win over Cardinals 6-3. San Francisco at San Diego. San Francisco starting pitcher Mike Lacoste shuts down the Padres. Giants all over the Padres 5-0. Tuesday, June 17th. Dodgers at Braves. Atlanta sneaks by the Dodgers 4-3. Tigers at Orioles. Detroit's third baseman Darnell Cole's sac fly in extras is good enough for the win. Tigers over Orioles 3-2 in 12. Rangers at Angels. California's third baseman Doug DeCence's two-run walk-off home run helps the Angels late 9-7 over the Rangers. Phillies at Cubs. Cubs center fielder Bob Denier. RBI single is enough to hold off the Phillies. Cubs win 4-3. Astros at the Reds. Cincinnati gets 2 runs in the 8th to take the win. Reds over the Astros 5-3. Seattle at Cleveland. Cleveland's right fielder Corey Schneider hits a walk-off homer in the 9th. Cleveland over the Mariners 2-1. Toronto at Milwaukee. Toronto puts up 7 in the 2nd to carry the Jays over the Brewers 10-5. Chicago White Sox at the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota center fielder Kirby Puckett goes 3 for 3 with 1 home run, 5 RBIs, and putting Minnesota over the White Sox 9-4. Mets at Expos. Expos starting pitcher Dennis Martinez shuts out the Mets in his first start for the Expos. Montreal wins 4-0. Boston at New York. Boston plays small ball in the 11th for the win in extras 4-3. Royals at Athletics. Royals tiptoe past Oakland 2-1. Cardinals at the Pirates. St. Louis gets 6 runs in the 7th for the win. Cardinals over the Pirates 12-3. And the last game of the day, San Francisco Giants at the San Diego Padres. San Diego shortstop Jerry Royster hits a walk-off double for the Padres 4-3 over the Giants. Wednesday, June 18th. Dodgers at Braves. Atlanta hangs 9 runs on Fernando in the win. Braves over Dodgers 9-6. Tigers at Orioles. Detroit upsets Baltimore in the 9th with 5 runs. Tigers win 10-9. Rangers at Angels. Texas gets 3 runs in extras for the win. Rangers over Angels 5-2. Phillies at the Cubs. Rookie starting pitcher for the Cubs, Jamie Moyer's first appearance and first start of his career, no hits to Phillies in his debut. Cubs over Phillies 4-0. Astros at the Reds. Cincinnati's closer John Franco blows the save. Astros win 4-2. Mariners at Indians. Cleveland's 3-run 8th inning carries the Tribe over the Mariners 5-2. Blue Jays at the Brewers. The Brew Crew beats down the Blue Jays 8-1. White Sox at the Twins. Chicago White Sox outslug the Twins in the Dome 9-3. Mets at Expos. New York Mets starting pitcher Bob Ojeda cools down the Expos in the Mets win 4-1. Red Sox at the Yankees. Boston starting pitcher Bruce Hurst shutouts the Yanks 4-0. Royals at Athletics. Oakland shortstop Alfredo Griffins goes 4 for 5 with 1 home run and 5 RBIs. St. Louis Cardinals at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh's DH Jim Morrison his a walk-off 2-run double helps the Pirates over the Cardinals 6-5. Giants at the Padres. Padres walks away with the win with a 5-run second inning. Padres over the Giants 5-3. 3. Thursday, June 19th. Dodgers at the Braves. Atlanta sweeps LA after LA late rally fails. Braves sweep the Dodgers and the game 9-8. Tigers at the Orioles. Baltimore's 3-run 7th leads them to victory. Orioles over Tigers 7-4. Astros at the Reds. Houston's 4-run 6 carries them to the win. Astros over the Reds 6-3. Mariners at the Indians. Cleveland jumps all over starting pitcher Mark Langston for 7 runs. Indians over the Mariners 7-1. White Sox at the Twins. White Sox starting pitcher Joe Cowley shuts out the Twins 3-0. Pirates at the Expos. Pittsburgh trips up the red-hot Expos. Pirates over the Expos 6-3. Cubs at the Mets. New York starting pitcher Sid Fernandez is first to 11 wins in the majors. Mets over Cubs 4-1. Cardinals at the Phillies. St. Louis's DH Ken Phelps' home run in the 13th helps the Cardinals 11-9 over the Phillies. San Francisco at San Diego. San Francisco's center fielder Henry Cotto goes 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs in the win. Giants over the Padres 6-3. Oakland at Texas. Texas catcher Don Slott's 2-run walk-off home run in the 11th carries the Rangers over the A's 4-2. And the last game of the day, the New York Yankees at the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto's starting pitcher Jimmy Key shuts down the Yankees 4-0. Now heading into the weekend games, we got Friday, June 20th. The Baltimore Orioles at the Boston Red Sox. Baltimore shortstop Cal Ripken Jr.'s second home run late is enough to walk away with the win. Orioles over the Red Sox 4-3. Seattle Mariners at the Chicago White Sox. Seattle hits 3 home runs in Chi-Town for the win. Mariners over White Sox 10-5. Atlanta Braves at the Cincinnati Reds. Atlanta's second baseman Glenn Hubbard hits a grand slam in the beating of the Reds. Braves over Reds 8-2. California Angels at the Kansas City Royals. California's starting pitcher Kirk McCaskill shuts down KC 11-0. San Diego Padres at the Los Angeles Dodgers. San Diego's doomed by throwing error in extras. Dodgers squeak past the Padres 5-4 in 13. Detroit Tigers at the Milwaukee Brewers. Detroit starting pitcher Jack Morris outduels Milwaukee starting pitcher Ted Higuera in extras. Detroit wins a nail-biter 1-0. Cleveland Indians at the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota's right fielder Tom Bernansky's walk-off single with the bases loaded in extras helped the Twins 4-2 in 10. Pittsburgh Pirates at the Montreal Expos. Pittsburgh starting pitcher Jose De Leon allows 1 run in complete game. Pirates over the Expos 5-1. Chicago Cubs at the New York Mets. Cubs thump the Mets 9-1. St. Louis Cardinals at the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies relief pitcher Steve Bedrosian blows the save in the 9th. Cardinals win 11-10. Houston Astros at the San Francisco Giants. San Francisco's right fielder Chili Davis hits a walk-off 2-run homer. Giants over the Astros 5-4. Oakland A's at the Texas Rangers. Oakland starting pitcher Jose Rijo shuts down the Rangers and closes out the game 1-0. New York Yankees at the Toronto Blue Jays. New York Yankees relief pitcher Juan Berenguer blows the game in Toronto 9-7 Blue Jays. Saturday, June 21st. Baltimore at Boston. Baltimore plays kick the can with Dennis Boyd in drubbing of Sox 9-1. Mariners at the White Sox. Seattle's third baseman Jim Presley goes 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in a big win. Mariners over the White Sox 13-5. Braves at the Reds. Cincinnati's 5-run fifth, not enough to put away Atlanta in loss. Atlanta over the Reds 8-7. Angels at Royals. California's right fielder Rupert Jones' grand slam is enough to crown the Royals 10-6. Padres at Dodgers. San Diego's closer Goose Gossage's fourth blown save of the season dooms the Padres. Dodgers over Padres 4-3. Tigers at Brewers. Detroit's DH Johnny Grubb goes 3 for 4 with 1 homer, 2 RBIs in the win. Tigers win 6-1. Cleveland Indians at the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota's center fielder Kirby Puckett goes 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in the big win. Twins over the Indians 13-8. Pirates at the Expos. Pittsburgh starting pitcher Rick Ruschel shutouts the Expos 1-0 in his best start of the season. Chicago Cubs at the New York Mets. New York Mets starting pitcher Dwight Gooden tires towards the end of the game and bullpen explodes in the loss. Cubs over Mets 8-4. St. Louis Cardinals at the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia finds another way to lose at home to the Cards 9-6 St. Louis. Astros at the Giants. Houston starting pitcher Mike Scott strikeouts 11 for his 10th victory of the year. Astros win 3-2. Athletics at the Rangers. Oakland shortstop Alfredo Griffin goes 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs in the win. A's over the Rangers 4-3. And last game of the day, Yankees at the Blue Jays. Toronto's rally falls short in the loss to the Yankees. Yankees over Toronto 8-6. And in the final game of the week, Sunday, June 22nd, Orioles at Red Sox. Baltimore lights up Boston's pitching staff again in the win 10-5. Seattle at Chicago. Chicago beats up Seattle starting pitcher Jim Beattie in the win. White Sox over Mariners 11-4. Atlanta Braves at the Reds. Cincinnati halts Atlanta's win streak at 7. Reds 6, Braves 3. California Angels at the Royals. California starting pitcher Ron Reminick closes the door on KC in the shutout. Angels big 5-0. Padres at Dodgers. Padres pin 6 extra runs on LA's bullpen late. Padres win 10-3. Tigers at Brewers. Detroit starting pitcher Randy O'Neal limits Milwaukee to 2 runs in the win. Detroit wins 6-4. Cleveland at Minnesota. Minnesota starting pitcher Mike Smithson allows 1 run to Cleveland in the win. Twins over the Indians 4-1. Pirates at Expos. Montreal rally falls short late in the sweep by the Pirates. Pirates 10, Expos 9. Cubs at Mets. Chicago stays red hot in beating of Mets starting pitcher Ron Darling. Cubs over Mets 4-2. St. Louis Cardinals at the Philadelphia Phillies. St. Louis's center fielder Willie McGee's error in the 8th cost the Cardinals the game in loss. Phillies over St. Louis 3-2. And in the doubleheader, Houston Astros at the San Francisco Giants, game 1 of the doubleheader. Houston can't overcome 4-run second by the Giants. Giants win 6-5. In game 2 of the doubleheader of the Astros and the Giants, San Francisco hits 3 home runs in the doubleheader sweep of the Astros. San Francisco 8, Houston 5. Oakland at Texas. Oakland scores 4 runs in the 9th to capture another in Texas. A's over the Rangers 6-3. And in the final game of the week, Yankees at Blue Jays. New York belts 3 homers over 2 innings to help the Yanks over the Jays 6-4. Now for Week 11 summary. The top teams of the week. We got the Atlanta Braves went 6-1. Detroit Tigers went 6-1. Pittsburgh Pirates went 6-1. Chicago Cubs went 5-2. And San Francisco Giants went 5-3. The not top teams of the week. Cincinnati Reds went 2-5. Montreal Expos went 2-5. New York Mets went 2-5. Philadelphia Phillies went 2-5. And the Los Angeles Dodgers went 2-4. So there's your summary for Week 11. There's your top 5 teams of the week and not so top teams of the week. So heading into the standings as of June 22nd, we got the Orioles. They still stay on top at 38-29. They're 3.5 games up over the Blue Jays. The Tigers have pulling away a little bit from the Twins at 36-32. They're 2 games up over the Twins. And the California Angels have leapfrogged the Texas Rangers. Angels are 45-24, and they are currently a game up on the Rangers, which leads us into the power rankings as of June 22nd. So right now, Angels are 1, Rangers are 2, Orioles 3, Tigers 4, Blue Jays 5, Athletics are 6, and the Brewers are 13th, and the Mariners are 14th. Not too many changes there. Heading into the National League, we got the New York Mets. New York Mets are 41-26. They are holding a 3-game lead over the Expos. Chicago Cubs overtook the Reds this week. Cubs are 35-33, and they're 2.5 games up over the Reds. And out west, we got the Dodgers at 41-28, still holding strong over the Astros. They're up by 3.5 games, which leads us to the rankings for the National League. We got the Mets and Dodgers still at 1 and 2. Expos are still at 3. Then we got the Astros and Pirates and Cubs at 4, 5, and 6. And we got the Giants and the Cardinals down toward the bottom. Giants are the 11th and Cardinals are the 12th. Not too much changes there either. So let's heading into the American League batting stats as of June 22nd. There's 6 teams highlighted here. Those guys, those 6 teams, the Indians, Red Sox, Rangers, Orioles, and Yankees, all have a tie for elite categories. They all have at least 3 categories that they are ahead on. Indians have the best batting average as a team, 288, while the Yankees have the best on-base percentage and the OPS, and the Rangers have the best slugging percentage. And then overall, the Indians have the most hits, Orioles have the most RBIs, Detroit Tigers has the most home runs, Red Sox have the least amount of strikeouts. The Blue Jays and the Angels are tied for stolen bases at 95. Tigers have 127 attempts overall. The Angels have the best stealing base percentage at 80%. Rangers have committed the least amount of errors. And the Oakland A's have the least amount of guys left on base. So let's head over to the American League pitching. And again, California Angels are the team when it comes to pitching. They lead the most categories. They have the best record at 45-24. They have the most saves at 23. They have a 3.31 ERA, which is pretty good. They have 5 shutouts on the year. Texas Rangers have the most strikeouts as a team, 487, which leads the league. And Oakland Athletics have a 1.25 whip. So there are your American League teams. And let's go ahead into the National League. So National League batting, we got the New York Mets. They are tied with the Expos and Padres with a 267 batting average. Mets have the best on-base percentage at 341, OPS at 388. Phillies have the best slugging percentage at 425. Mets have the most RBIs at 317. Dodgers have the most home runs at 80. And we got the Expos strike out the least amount of times, 349. The Cardinals are just a running team. They have 155 stolen bases and 209 attempts. 74% base stealing average. But the Expos have the best, 81%. Cardinals run all the time, but they run themselves always into losses, it seems. And then the Expos have the least amount of fielding errors and the least amount of people left on base at 469. So let's head into the National League pitching. And we got the New York Mets. New York Mets are the best pitching staff in the National League at a 41-26 record. Giants have the most saves at 19. Braves have the most holds at 13. Mets have a 3.27 ERA. And the Mets have the most strikeouts at 503. And also they're tied with the Astros with 5 shutouts apiece. Now let's heading to the current disabled list as of June 22nd in the American League. Most notables there are Ruben Sierra. He's out for a game. Starting pitcher for the White Sox, Floyd Bannister, is out 7 games. Ron Hasse is out 4 games. Carlton Fisk, he's out 15 games. He's heading in another week and he'll be back. Lou Whitaker, he's on 8 games. And Ricky Henderson, probably the biggest name on this list, got hurt during the week against Toronto. He is out 15 games. So Ricky will be out of the lineup until July 8th. That's a big blow to the Yankees. In the National League, we got Mike Schmidt. He's out for 2 games. He's had a pretty injury-ridden season so far. We got Denny Walling for the Astros at 10 games. He should be coming back next week. Dale Murphy, he leaded on 3 games. He should be back next week sometime. Tommy Herr for the Cardinals. He's out 7 games. That hurts a little bit. Expo starting pitcher Jay Tibbs. He should be coming back next week sometime towards 15 games. That's kind of throwing their pitching staff in a little bit of a disarray. And then we got Pedro Guerrero, who came off the 15-day DL just to go right back on it for 8 more days toward the end of next week or the week after. And then Chili Davis, who's getting red hot, then gets hurt during the doubleheader. He's out for 7 games. He's out until July 1st. So those are the disabled list as of the 22nd. Again, the biggest name with the longest amount of time is Ricky Henderson, out 15 games. Let's see what the Yankees could do without him for 15 games in the leadoff spot. Now we're going to check up on the Milestones updated. As right now, Don Sutton, he already hit his 300 win of the season. He's at 305 so far. Bert Blyleven, he's trying to get to 3,000 Ks. Current 92 strikeouts in the season. He has 2,967 strikeouts currently. He is 33 away from getting to 3,000. So hopefully sometime this season he will break that mark. Then we got Steve Carlton. Steve Carlton is sitting at 3,920 strikeouts. He has 70 on the season. He's trying to get to 4,000 strikeouts. He has 3,990. He has 10 more to go. So he should hit that within the next start or 2. Or maybe the next 3 starts, depending. And then finally we got Mike Schmidt, who's trying for 500 home runs. He currently sits on 17 for the year, and he's at 475 for the career. He has 25 more. 25 more would put him at roughly 42. And, Schmidt has not hit any more than 40 in a season as a Philly. So let's see if he could reach that this year. If not, he'll probably have to wait till next year. Now, heading into the AL stat leaders. And we got Wade Boggs leading the league with 368 batting average. George Bell, 21 home runs. Bill Buckner, 62 RBIs. Gary Pettis, 65 stolen bases. Currently, Triple Crown is kind of dropped off by Wally Joyner. So, looks like no triple header on the offensive side so far for the American League. Now for the pitching staff, we got the best ERA is Moose Haas, 1.83. Mike Witt, Tom Candiotti, Moose Haas, Dennis Rasmussen, and Charlie Huff all have 10 wins. Roger Clemens has 124 strikeouts for the Red Sox. And Donnie Moore is still sitting on 23 saves for the Angels. Right now, Rasmussen kind of dropped off a little bit with the strikeouts. So it looks like no Triple Crown so far for the pitching staff either. So that is the American League. So let's switch to the National League. National League, a little mix around here. We got Dave Parker leads the league at 342 average. Steve Garvey and Mike Schmidt are tied with 17 home runs. Von Hayes has 50 RBIs. And Speedy Vince Coleman sitting at 68 stolen bases. Pitching wise, Sid Fernandez of the Mets, 1.58 ERA. Has the best win record. He has 11 wins, Sid Fernandez. And Mike Scott leads the league in strikeouts, 133, but Sid has 109. And for the saves, Lee Smith and John Franco are both tied at 18. So Sid Fernandez is in good company of possibly getting the pitching Triple Crown. So our last spotlight is going to be of the American League East. We're going to go through this as we always do, through each division. Currently, this is what we got here. Baltimore Orioles win first by 3.5 games over the Blue Jays. Yankees are 5.5 out, tied with Cleveland at 5.5. And the Red Sox are last with 6 out. So, Orioles at 38-29. Red Sox are at 33-36. The Cleveland Indians are at 33-35. Yankees are at 34-36. And the Blue Jays are at 36-34. So that's where we're looking to get a head in a little bit deep dive with these guys. And we will start off with the Baltimore Orioles. So this is their offense here. Just a couple quick notes on this as we go through. The guys highlighted in the light blue, these are guys that have either been traded or released by the team. Guys that are in green with the little R, they are the rookies. And those in purple are guys that are yet to play a single game. They are either being called up or they'll be with the team after the date that I have listed. So in this example, Ken Gerhardt will not appear with the Orioles until after September 14th. And in the last column are the actual games played during the 86 season. I use that as a guide when I'm doing my lineup. So all those in green are the average, are the actual games played by the player in the 86 season. So I did something different this time. I went through the leaders, and the leaders on the team I highlighted and made red. So it looks like Cal Ripken Jr. seems to be the top offensive player on the Orioles. He's got a .309 batting average with 15 home runs, 53 RBIs, and .524 slugging percentage. Juan Beniquez has the best team average as a player, .329. And Terry Pendleton, who was traded to the Orioles earlier in the season, leads the team with 16 stolen bases. So now off to their pitching staff. Again, we got those highlighted in that light blue have been traded away. Des Martinez traded away during this particular week. Any of the pitchers on the left-hand side that are highlighted in green, they are those asterisk players that could actually pitch every 3 games. I just marked that down. And then to dignify lefties and righties, those pitchers that are in like that golden color, they are left-handers. And then again, all the way on the right is the games started and games pitched in green. Those are the actual games that they did in 86. So Scott McGregor pitched 34 games. He started 33. And that is the pitching staff. So the team pitcher with the best win record is Mike Boddicker. He's at 8-3. Don Ace has 20 saves. Mike Flanagan has the best ERA for the starting pitchers. Boddicker has 86 strikeouts. And that's pretty much them in a nutshell. They have 4.66 ERA. And again, are in first place of the East with a 38-29 record. Next is the Boston Red Sox. We got a little bit all over the place here. It's kind of a tie between Buckner, Rice, and Boggs. Boggs has a .368 batting average. Jim Rice has 13 home runs, and Bill Buckner has 62 RBIs. Marty Barrett leads the team in stolen bases with 11. He also leads the team in the most double plays hit into. So they have a pretty good core group here. These guys seem to do pretty good. I just can't seem to get the guys in. That seems to be their biggest thing. They have 537 men left on base, which is pretty high. So they have no problem getting on base. They just have a problem getting them in. So that is, they're hitting 278 as a team. And again, those highlighted yellow with the red are the team leaders. Now heading off to their pitching staff. We got not too many good pitcher records. We got Bruce Hurst at 6-6 and Roger Clemens at 7-7. Calvin Schiraldi has 11 saves. Roger Clemens has a 3.02 ERA. He has 124 strikeouts. He has a 1.15 whip. Clemens by far is the best starting pitcher. And Schiraldi's probably one of the better relievers. Got a 4.25 ERA. 33-36. They're not out of it. They're definitely close, only 6 games behind, but they have the offense, but their pitching needs to do a little bit better. Now, as next, we got the Cleveland Indians. And this one's a new one here. On here, the guy highlighted yellow, Chris Chambliss, he's currently on the DL. So anyone that's highlighted yellow like this is on the DL. Cleveland's a good hitting team. They have a 288 team batting average. Brett Butler leads the team with 336 batting average. Joe Carter has a 558 slugging percentage. Julio Franco leads the team with hits, 95, and RBIs with 52. Joe Carter has 13 home runs. Brett Butler has 10 triples. He also leads the team in stolen bases. He has 31. And Otis Nixon has the best stealing percentage at 89. So these guys, great offensive team. They could hit the ball. They could get runs. It's too bad the pitching staff isn't that great. So, which leads us into their pitching staff. Outside of Tom Candiotti, who has a 10-4 record, everyone else is pretty mediocre, and it has a high ERA. Candiotti got lit up his last game, giving up 10 earned runs, putting his ERA from a 2.6 up to a 3.7. He leads the team with strikeouts 76. And Ken Schramm has a 1.12 whip. And Ernie Camacho has a 9 saves. Their bullpen is a disaster, too. As you can see, the ERAs. Lowest is a 3.75. Everyone else is 4 or plus. So they have a 4.58 ERA, which kind of kills their 2.88 team average. And they're 33-35. Again, the East is still up for grabs. Let's head off to the Yankees. Yankees got hit with the bug pretty hard last week. Biggest one being Ricky Henderson being out for 15 games. We got Pagliarulo's out a game. We got Ron Hassey's out for 4 games. Don Mattingly, probably one of the better offensive players on the team. Dan Pasqua leads the team in average with 310. Don Mattingly has the most hits with 88, most RBIs with 44. Mike Pagliarulo leads the team in home runs with 14. And Ricky leads the team with stolen bases with 55. Again, they're hitting as a 259 batting average, but they get on base. They got a .342 on base percentage, led by Willie Randolph's .442. It's just that, again, I have a little problem like the Red Sox do. 579 guys left on base. They get the guys on base, no problem. They just can't get them in, which leads to their pitching staff, which actually really isn't too bad. Ron Guidry, even though he has a 2-8 record and a 5.42 ERA, he's actually pitched quite well in all of those games. He hasn't been blown up too much. Gets later in the game, and that's when he kind of falls apart. Dennis Rasmussen's having an excellent year. He has 10-3 and a 2.21 ERA. He's probably the best starting pitcher on the team. If they could get some help from their rookie Doug Drabek and get some key veteran help from Tommy John, maybe they could propel the Yankees to catch up on the Orioles. Yankees have a 4.26 ERA. And we got Dave Righetti, has 16 saves. Definitely is a threat at the end of the game. But as of late, he's been giving up runs left and right, so he has a 4.50 ERA. But outside of that, he's pretty good. So their pen isn't the best. The starting pitchers are okay. So they just need to kind of build on that momentum. Next is finally the Toronto Blue Jays. This is the 85 American League champions, and they're a pretty solid team. They got 275 batting average, which led by George Bell at 315. George is definitely the best offensive threat on there. He has 21 homers, 58 RBIs. He gets on base. Most of the team is a 260 plus hitting, which is good. They have some speed with Tony Fernandez, Lloyd Mosby, and Willie Upshaw. They steal a lot of bases. Fernandez leads the team with 37 stolen bases. These guys leave a lot of guys on base too. 566 again. The Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays have no problem getting on base, and the issue seems that they just can't get the runs in. So if they could, any of those teams kind of eliminate or solve that problem, they are going to be tough heading the rest of the way. And which leads them to their pitching staff. Their pitching staff's okay too. Kind of like the Red Sox, kind of average. Jim Clancy's at 6-4. Rookie John Cerruti is 7-6. Their ace Dave Steve is 5-6, 5.22 ERA. He gets beat up a lot. Jimmy Key is trying to take over that role. He's 6-7. He's a 3.78 ERA. Not too bad. He's probably the better out of the two, Dave Steve and Jimmy Key. Tom Hankey, he is 15 saves, a 1.35 ERA. He's money when he comes in. And we got some bullpen help, but rookie Mark Eckhorn has 6 holds, 1.89 ERA. He's 3-1. Get another solid reliever. Jim Aker is okay. Dennis Lamp has been mediocre. Bill Caudiff, he's been working on a couple early drubbings where he had almost like a 20 ERA, so he's working on that. He's down to a 4.89, so get some help from the newly acquired Bruce Barini and Randy Newman. If they get some help from those guys, that might help. But as you can see, they have a 9 and a 13.5 ERA. Both have pitched 2 innings. They give up a bunch of runs, so maybe they could kind of turn around. Blue Jays have a 4.41 ERA, and they are sitting in second place with 36 wins and 34 losses. So that is the recap of the American League East. Starting in Week 12, we'll probably do something a little different. Maybe we'll just do the division, the league division leaders for 1 week, and then do the American League 1 week and maybe National League the next. and then maybe by week 14 we'll start all over again, start back out in the National League West to re-look back and see how they are doing. Which leads us to our final thing before I let everybody go. This is the All-Star Game ballot leaders per position as of the American League. So I have the top 5 of each position currently, with the top 2 going to the All-Star Game. And then when it comes to the pitchers, it's a little bit different. I have the top 10 starters, the top 3 relievers, and the top 5 closers. So we're going to just take a quick glance at some of the records and some of their stats. I'm not going to go through the stats, but I'll go through some of the guys. So we are going to start with the American League. So we got the top vote getter for catchers right now is rookie Dave Valley for Seattle. It's 12 home runs, 19 RBIs, and hitting .394. Bob Boone, it's a close second behind him. And at first base, we got rookie first baseman for the California Angels, Wally Joyner, who's having a fantastic year. .364 batting average, 15 home runs, 52 RBIs. Pretty solid for a rookie. He's hands down going to get that starting position. And then it battles between Willie Upshaw and Joe Carter. Don Mattingly's kind of cooled off as of late. Pete O'Brien's been okay for the whole season, so we'll see who comes out of that first base. Second base wise, we got Willie Randolph, who's just been getting on base left and right. And Harold Reynolds has been coming on strong lately. It's 31 stolen bases. Not too bad there. Second base is kind of up for grabs. Shortstop, it's kind of a three-way here. Cal Ripken has gotten red hot the last 3 weeks. The whole season's pretty much been Tony Fernandez and Alfredo Griffin for the Blue Jays and the A's respectively. You know, look at those averages there, pretty good. But man, Cal has been creaming the ball, and he's starting to turn around. So he's brought himself up. He was as low as a .220 batting average. Now he's up to .309 with 15 home runs, 53 RBIs, and Cal is looking to overcome Tony Fernandez. So he stays hot. We can see him starting short in the All-Star Game. And then at third base, we only got 4 currently. We got Wade Boggs, who's been hitting the cover off the ball as a late, hit a .368 batting average. Jim Presley, since he's been getting off the DL, he's been on fire. 20 home runs, 47 RBIs. And we got Paul Molitor, who's kind of cooled off since getting off the DL. And George Brett is slowly getting back to form. So there are your top 5 instead of the third base, top 4 that are leading the American League in all-star votes. So as we go to the pitching staff, we're going to start off with it's not the pitching staff. I forgot. We got to do the outfield. So we got right field. We got Harold Baines. He's killing it. And Dwight Evans and Kirk Gibson. Center field, Brett Bartler has been very consistent. He's been hot pretty much all year. He had 2 stints on the DL, which kind of hurt him a little bit. Gary Pettis, who had an awesome April, has been quiet pretty much the rest of the season, so he's brought himself down back to reality. He was hitting .467 at the end of April. Now he's at a .282, so Brett Butler's kind of has the advantage a little bit on Pettis. And then in left field, George Bell, he's been the man in Baltimore. Jim Rice also with the Red Sox. He's been hitting pretty good as of lately, .335 batting average. And then as for the DH, Dave Kingman, he's been consistent all year. A low average guy, but high power guy. 18 home runs, 54 RBIs, .233 batting average. Don Baylor kind of follows the same exact suit, low batting average, but he has 11 home runs and 36 RBIs. Leads the league in being hit by pitches. He's currently been hit 12 times. And then Pat Tabler, he has a pretty decent average. He's been cold as of late. He's dropped at least 30 points. He was at one point hitting 356. So those are the outfield and the DH. And now is the pitching staff. So we're going to start off with the American League top 5 closers. Donnie Moore is definitely the best closer with 23 saves, but he's been beat up the last couple of games, hitting him at 3.52 ERA. Calvin Schiraldi, even though he started off the first 3 weeks of the season as the setup man, considering he has the 5 holds, he took over for Bob Stanley as closer, and he's been rock solid with 11 saves and a 1.18 ERA. Matt Young has yet to blow a save this year. He's the only closer in the American League without a blown save. So it's 14 saves, and he's 1-0 record. Jay Howe, he's been very consistent with the A's. 15 saves and a .99 ERA. And Don Ace, he's probably the second best reliever with 20 saves, but he's got beat up the last couple outings with a 2.25 ERA. So there's your top 5 closers. And we're going to see, we get a reliever that's not a closer into the All-Star game. And these are the top 3. We got Steve Farr from the Kansas City Royals, was 2-0 with 12 holds and a .85 ERA. He's been rock solid every time he's in. Dan Plesac, rookie Dan Plesac for the Brewers. He's 1-2 with 11 holds and 1.79 ERA. He's been coming down to earth a little bit. And we got Gary Lucas, who started off red hot. Had a fantastic April and May. Had 12 holds and a sub-1 ERA. And now he's 0-1 with 12 holds and a 2.54 ERA. So he's slowly come back to earth as well. And then we got the starting pitchers. These are the top 10 vote getters as of now. Probably the best pitcher in the American League is Moose Haas with a 1.83 ERA and a 10-3 record. He has 56 strikeouts. Doesn't strike out too many batters, doesn't walk too many batters with a 1 whip. He just gets guys out. If the A's had a little bit better of a offense, he'd probably be 13-0. Ed Correa, he struggled these last 2 games. He's kind of knocked him down a little bit. His 10-2 record. Joe Cowley, even though he's a 7-3, he's been consistent for the White Sox. A lot of his games have been blown by his setup man and closer. Dennis Rasmussen, he's been lights out for the Yankees at 10-3. Roger Clemens at 7-7. He's definitely a threat, but he can't seem to win as much as he should. And then we got Charlie Huff at 10-4. Mike Witt has been very consistent at 10-4. Burt Blyleven at 8-6. Don Sutton and Tom Candiotti. So that's your 10 leaders there, even though fans usually don't pick the pitchers, but in my fantasy replay they do. So it looks like Moose Haas and Ed Correa and Joe Cowley, those are the top 3 of possibly starting the All-Star game. So now let's head into the National League. So National League, we got Joe Carter, who's having a decent season. Bob Brentley having an okay season. Terry Kennedy, Mike Scioscia, Jody Davis kind of rounded it off. First base, we got Keith Hernandez having a good year. Vaughn Hayes, he's having a decent year. 15 homers, 50 RBIs, 253 average. Pete Rose, he's doing okay. Bob Horner is starting to get hot. And Steve Garvey's been very consistent. Second base, it's a toss-up between these 2 guys. Steve Sachs started off the year on fire. He was the April Player of the Month. And he's stayed hot halfway through May. then kind of slowed down a little bit. Then he got hurt, and then he's slowly coming back, but he still leads second basemen with 321 batting average, 5 home runs, 26 RBI, 61 stolen bases. And then we got Juan Samuel, who started off real cold, and he's gotten hot at the right time. He's been very hot in June. 288 average, 7 home runs, 33 RBIs, 37 stolen bases. And then Wally Backman, he would definitely be higher up. He got 2 long stints on the DL this year, a 15 game and a 10 game, which has hurt his games. Definitely has the batting average. Gets on base. It's just that he hasn't had that many games under belt. So, and then shortstop wise, of course, we got the Wizard hitting over 310, 4 home runs, which is a little bit of a shock. 26 RBIs, 20 stolen bases. Definitely keen with the glove as usual. He just came off of a 10-game disables list run, so hopefully he can stay hot. Hubie Brooks, he's had 2 stints in the DL, but he's starting to get hot back again for the Expos. So those 2 look like are going to be heading to Houston for the All-Star game. And then third base, considering again he's had about 4 or 5 stints in the DL, an injury-plagued season so far, has been able to play 52 games, 309 batting average, 17 home runs, 65 RBIs. Mike Schmidt has always been money, and he's carrying himself pretty well. So if he could just stay healthy the rest of the year, we're not any more DL stints. He looks like he's going to have a pretty decent season. Jim Morrison, who's probably a big shock out of Pittsburgh, he's been very consistent. 8 home runs, 34 RBIs, 309 batting average, leads the team in average. Pretty good there. So let's go head to the National League outfield. And we got in right, we got Dave Parker hitting 342, 8 home runs, 39 RBIs. He's doing his thing. Leading the right field vote getters there. We got Darryl Strawberry. He's always a popular guy. 16 home runs, 43 RBIs, but has that weak 214 batting average. 31 stolen bases. He leads the league in walks too. He just can't hit consistently. And then Kevin Boss out of the Astros, 14 home runs, 44 RBIs, 308 batting average. He's been doing really red hot the last month and a half. Tony Gwynn has been cooling down the last 2 weeks. He was leading the league with a 355 batting average. He's down to a 320. 50 stolen bases. So let's see what Tony could do. And then the Hawk, Andre Dawson, 10 home runs, 46 RBIs, 304 batting average. He's kind of cold as of late too for the Expos, but that's could be anyone's game in right field for the National League. Now Central, Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy's currently on the DL. He has 15 home runs, 41 RBIs, 276 batting average. Len Dykstra, he's been red hot the last 2 months. He's kind of cooled down since coming off the DL. So definitely those 2 are something to look at. Left field is pretty much a lock between Tim Raines and Vince Coleman. Raines definitely has the average, has a little bit more power, 59 stolen bases. Coleman definitely has the speed, 68 stolen bases, but again, 215 batting average. Gets on base, he could do some damage, but he doesn't get on base consistently. So he's only on base by his average 21% of the time. So if he was hitting almost 300, he'd probably already be at 100 stolen bases. But and then finally is DH, something new for the National League this year. Trying to get that power hitter who's not in the field every day. So we have a lot of guys who would mainly be pinch hitters that have kind of filled in as the DH. George Foster, he started off red hot with the Mets in April and May. And as June came around, he started to slowly get back down to earth. He has 15 home runs, 45 RBIs, 293 batting average. Ron Say, he's coming on late, filling into that DH role. 11 home runs, 26 RBIs, 312 batting average. And Pedro Guerrero has 16 home runs, 40 RBIs, 236 batting average. He probably would be the top vote getter if he didn't go on a 15-day DL, and then he's on another 8-day DL. So he's going to, out of the last 20, it's going to end up being 24 games that he's going to miss, or 23 out of 24 games he's going to miss. So hopefully he can come back and get back on track, because he's been filling the DH quite well for the Dodgers. So now let's go take a look at the pitching staff. And in the pen, we got Kent Tekulve, who's taken over for Steve Bedrosian. Steve Bedrosian was the closer for the Phillies at the beginning of the year. He blew like 4 games in 2 weeks. So setup man Kent Tekulve kind of took over, and they've kind of flip-flopped. Bedrosian's in the setup role, and Tekulve's now the closer. So in 18 games, he's 13 saves, 1 hold, and a .89 ERA and a .40 whip. So he's money when he comes in. Gene Garber, he pitches a lot. He's a 3-2 record, 16 saves, 2.76 ERA. Lee Smith has been coming on lately, 18 saves, 2.86 ERA. Jeff Reardon, he's one of the solid closers, 1-1 with 15 saves, 1 hold, 3.16 ERA. And Mark Davis, he's coming out of nowhere. He's been getting hot in the last month or so with the Giants, with 15 saves and 3.28 ERA. Now, as for regular relievers, Jesse Orosco, he has 1 save and 7 holds and 1.64 ERA. Roger McDowell is the closer for the Mets. He seems to be kind of up and down, so it's a possibility that if McDowell doesn't kind of right the ship soon, Orosco might take over the closer role for the Mets. Andy McGaffigan, a little bit of a surprise here. He's slated as a starter, but due to all their starting pitching, he's been pushed to the pen, and he's coming quite nicely as a setup man. He's 4-0 with 5 holds, a 1.12 ERA. Still might potentially land into the starting rotation, but he's been dynamite for the Expos in the pen. And then Rob Murphy for the Reds, he's been kind of lights out, 1-1 with 8 holds and a .99 ERA. The only downside with Rob Murphy is the Reds, they either win close games or they get blown out. So he's not consistently pitching, but for when he does comes in, he's pretty lights out. And then finally, we got our top 10 pitchers here. Sid Fernandez, as we said, he earned his 11th win this week. He's 11-2 with a 1.58 ERA and 109 strikeouts. Right now, you're possibly looking at the starting pitcher for the National League, unless something dramatic happens in the next couple of weeks. Mike Scott, who started off dynamite, red hot, and then he's come back down to earth the last 6 starts or so. Still good at 10-3 with a 2 ERA and 133 strikeouts. So it's down to El Cid and Mike Scott. Bob Ojeda's another sneaky one who's coming up with a 10-1 record for the Mets, and also Nolan Ryan. So there is your top 10, and there is your current ballot leaders for all the positions for the American League and National League heading into the Astro Dome for the All-Star Game. And this will take the end of Week 11, which is June 16th through June 22nd, 1986. This was a little bit late. I did have some things going on outside of playing this game, so I like to try to get these out every 2 weeks, and I think I'm like 6 weeks since my last posting. So I am sorry for that, guys. Some stuff has kind of happened, and it kind of got away for a little bit. The summer is usually a tough time to get this stuff done, but I will try to be more consistent and try to get out maybe within 3 weeks or so. So as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. Again, any input you guys want, just leave a comment. Again, if you want some guys that you like to be towards the All-Star game, give them a vote. You know my email. I shut down the survey because it was costing me and no one did it. So you want to email, I'll have the email in the comments. And outside of that, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, guys, play ball.